When we add the implicit wait, it means this is applied on the driver object. Okay, where it applied on the driver object. Now the driver will wait for each and every element up to 10 seconds. Right? When we call the driver.findElement, it will wait the element up to 10 seconds. If element is not available, then it will raise the exception. Okay, so this is the implicit wait. So if we applied implicit wait, if this is applied on the driver object, it means now the throughout the life of this driver object, means until we call the driver.quit, it will applied, right? Yeah. It means here it will wait for each and every action. Is when we call the driver.findElement, it will wait up to 10 seconds for each and find element. Okay, throughout the life of the driver object. But sometimes we need some specific time for particular locator, particular action. So in that case, we can apply the wait that is known as the implicit wait. Okay, explicit wait, like we applied here in the alert case, right? So when we applied this wait for element, created one object, right? Now using the wait, this object, this is the explicit wait. Using this object, we can apply at any particular element, particular actions. Like here in this case, I applied wait until the alert is present. So it will wait only for these specific lines. It will not wait here, right? So where I applied the code, at that point of view, that point, that place, it will wait, and some specific conditions. Like here, our condition is we are waiting the alert present. So it will applied on this end. Okay. But when we are calling using the implicit wait, so it will apply, it means 10 seconds is applied throughout the driver object. Clear?
Yes. Also, can we change the duration of time? Because you have 10 over here. So what if we need to like change it to some other time?
Yeah, you can mention 20, you can mention 30, you can mention what you need, like you can do that. Okay. Also, like suppose that I added here the 10 seconds, right? But we need maybe we don't need to wait for some cases. In that case, you can change this with 0, right? Now, after this statement, driver implicit wait time is 0 seconds. But before this, it was 10 seconds. So at any place, you can just change by calling this method. You can change also time. Now, like suppose that you need here more time, just add the 30 seconds. Now you want to reduce that. You can use here the 10 seconds. So between this here, from before this statement, after this statement, driver wait is 30 seconds. So what we can say in the chart, when we are using implicit wait, it is applied throughout the driver object, right? But if we are using explicit wait, then that is applied for a particular condition. Like example here, we are waiting alert. Okay, so I will give more example of the web driver wait, like some more conditions. But as of now, you can see here, and if I dot here use, you can see there are multiple conditions. Attribute, and attribute contains, right? There are some DOM attribute. So element to be clickable, right? Element to be clickable, wave element object. So there are multiple conditions we can use. Invisible element, JavaScript no description, like this. So there are multiple. So based on our requirement, we can call the text.
Sadik, I have a question too. So in this example, so in the alerts, we don't have to create so many objects, right? You created alert, alert1, alert2 and all.
Which
So
one?
the alerts here in this alert example that you gave me.
Alert
Yeah,
one,
here.
two,
So you don't have to create all that, right? Without creating it also, like if you create one alert and object, I tried it without creating all these 1, 2 and 3. It still worked for the other elements too.
Yeah, it will work.
So why did
Right?
you
Just remove
do
this.
so many?
Just remove this. So I have created separate object, right? So that you can see the differentiate. I'm not storing it because the variable, this is the kind of variable, right? Instance variable.
Yes.
So in one variable, you can store same type of value again. Like suppose that you started here integer, integer a equal to 10. Here we are storing 10, but now in the next line here we are storing 20.
Okay.
You can change. Now after this it will be 20. Same time if we are here first time we initialize and store the driver object, alert object, right?
Yes.
So at this time, what is returning here that will store in this variable. Now variable means this will vary. It can vary. So here we are using driver.switchTo again and is storing the alert object in same variable, right? We can do that.
So is there any reason why you created so many objects? I mean, many variables?
No, we can create in same variables as well as the different both. We can do. There is no specific reason.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Like here, maybe driver.find_element. So if I go another example. Here also I created one variables, right? Another variables. So we can also store the value in same variables.
Okay.
Okay. And also maybe where is the first example?
We don't have to create any variables also, right? So I think we can just give the driver.find_element there also, right? In the previous example.
Directly we can call.
Okay.
There is no issue.
Okay.
You mean alert one, right?
Not alert. The other example you just showed me, wherein we created the placeholder one. The previous example, I think it was in get examples or something. Here we don't have to create the variable, right? String text. I just gave the find element variable that thingy down in the asset.
Yeah, you mean directly you can pass using.
We can do that.
Yeah, we can do. But if we call such type of shortcut, right? Maybe you can understand because in the class, everyone Java concept is not much clear, right?
Okay, got it.
So that's why I am going such a way so that everyone.
Okay, in office,
real,
like if you're working.
In real, we are also not directly passing the value. Here in assert, first we are storing. So that our code is clear.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
But if you will pass directly in the here in assert function, that will also there is no issue.
It will work, but it will not be clear. That is what you are saying, right?
No, it will also work, but it's depend upon different persons. They are using different approach to write the code, right?
Okay.
So if you want, you can directly call. But if I directly paste here, then our code will mix up, right?
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
Mix up, kind of. Okay, so maybe your Java concept is clear. I'm not sure, but other team members are not in this class. Everyone is not in same level, right? So
no, my only concern was like why are we creating so many variables? That is what my question was, because why are we even storing it if you don't have to? Why are we doing it? That was my question.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other question anyone have? What we are discussing? Okay, so any question? I think in the class they have not connected from classroom. Let me check. Okay. Okay, so now we can start. So let me open the and demo URL. Last time we started discussing about the mouse action, right? Like mouse double click, mouse single click, mouse right click. So for that we have a class, action class. We need to create the object of the action class. Then with the help of using action class object, we can perform the right click, left click, as well as the double click. Okay, but now using the mouse, we can do some more action. Like example, we can drag object and drop. So drag and drop functionality we can do by using mouse action, right? And why we need? So sometime in some application, there is some functionality where we need to perform mouse drag and drop to arrange the menus, to arrange the widgets. Okay, so there are okay, so I will come your question, Deepu, later because I started. So now here we can see, you can see here one example where we need to drag this into a particular element. Okay, so similar type in the web application, in some cases, right? If application has inbuilt some functionality where we have a drag and drop kind of controls UI, then we need to handle also that, because if that is coming in your test cases, then you need to handle this, otherwise you will not proceed. There is like here you can see when I click on this, there is a droppable section. Here we can drop this, also we can drop. So this is also drag and drop. We can also verify here the drag and drop functionalities. So how we do this in the Selenium WebDriver? So because this is also mouse action, right? Where we can press the mouse on the first object element, and then by keeping pressing, right? Keep pressing, we can just scroll this and drop into another object, another element. So here we have two elements. One element, this is source, second is the target. We will drag source and drop into the target. So this is kind of one action. So let me add here in this scenario, this Java file. This is drag and drop. So copy this URL. So I'm going to directly navigate this URL so that we can get the page. Now, this code we need right here. Then here I'm going to do the mouse action. Mouse action means using the mouse, we will drag and drop. So that's why we need here action class. So created action class object. Now we have here two elements. One element which we want to drag, and second is where we want to drop. Okay, so two elements. So we can get the locators of the first element. Its ID is draggable. So as we discussed last time, we can also use the ID to find the element. So we can create first element, a wave element. This is source element. Then call the driver, find element by dot ID. Okay, this is the source element. Which element we want to drag? Okay. Second object we will create. Second wave element object. This is the target. Why I'm giving the target? So this is the user defined variable, right? You can give any name. So now but our variables should be meaningful. Like this is the target. Okay. That's why I added this, created this variable name target, means object name target. Drop able ID. Two objects created, source and target. This element I will drag and drop into the target element. So how we do that? We need to call the action class method. So here is a method, drag and drop methods. You can see it need two objects. One is the source, second is the target. Two wave element object we need to pass here. So first element, we need to pass the source element. Second, we need to pass the target element. Then here we need to call the perform methods. Let me run. You can see here, done, right? Now next. Okay, so this is clear. If we want to drag and drop, how we will do that? So we have action class. You can create action class object, and then we have a drag and drop methods. Using the drag and drop method, we can perform drag and drop functionality. So this is the one kind of drag and drop where we have source and target. Second, we have, sorry.
I'm sorry. I was asking when we did that perform action, which we just did, there was a message coming dropped. I didn't see we have put that message anywhere. Where did that come from?
Yeah, so if we want to confirm that, right, how we do that?
Yeah.
What we will do? No, I'm asking this question because we have already done multiple times, right? So I'm asking, if we want to verify drag and drop is done, how we do that in automation?
The code.
Yeah, code level, how we handle this? If we want to verify here, because I'm just teaching, explaining here. This is dropped, and you can see here means drag and drop functionality is working. But now if we want to check in automation, drag is successfully means dropped is successfully. How we verify?
Assertion.
Assertion. What assertion? What we will get here? What we will get here? What we will verify? Okay, so let me ask in different way. If you want to verify manually, drag and drop functionality is successfully done, what you will verify and how you know that is successfully done?
When you see it as dropped, that thingy changes into
Dropped, right? So when I drag, we are seeing here the dropped message. Earlier the message is different, right? But manually you can see here drag and drop done successfully. But if I want to verify in automation, because in automation we will not sit on the laptop and watch this, it should be automatically verified. So we have already discussed, we have a method. You can create locators of this, right? This element, dropped element, we need to create a locators. Okay, then we will call the get function, driver.findElements.get function, and verify this text is changed into the dropped, right? If this is dropped, then it means successfully done.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so because one time, 2-3 times I have already explained, that's why I'm not going, because it will take some time, right, to explain again things. These are the repeated things. But for the verification, always we need to check what portion we can verify so that our functionality is covered automatically. Right? Okay. Right here we perform the right click, left click, and then we verified the messages. So these are the verified automatically. Similar type here we can verify by getting the text, this one. Okay, so let me show you one more thing. CSS I have not explained. Okay, so we can create xpath, ID, name directly. Similar type, there is one more approach, CSS selector. CSS selector we can also create for the element. In that case, we need to use the tag. So this tag is div, and then attribute name without using @ and then our ID value or any attribute value. As of now, I am using your ID, so I will provide the ID. So this is the CSS selector. And what is the difference between CSS selector? So if I create xpath for this, then we need to start with /, okay, then div, and then @ ID and its value. I will also keep starting like and teaching the CSS selector so that you can familiar with the xpath as well as the CSS selector. So if I create the locator of the CSS selector for this P object, right? So we can call, go to the first parent level, because here we don't have any attribute which will uniquely define. Okay, so then greater than P. If we move the parent to child, then we can use greater than sign. So this is the CSS selector. This is okay. Now, if I want to use here the P tag, child tag, then we can use the /. So this is the xpath and this is the CSS selector. You can see xpath is working, right? So there are 3 elements, but our case is which we are looking, that is first. Okay, so when we are calling the driver.findElement, always it will return the first element object. So we don't need to worry on remaining 2 because we are looking only first. So and the xpath what we created, our CSS selector what we are created, that is identified the first one. Okay, so if I use this CSS selector, so you can see also this will give us a 3, and our which we are looking, that is first. Okay, so now I'm going to use the CSS selector. So difference between the CSS selector is XPath is a directional. From top to bottom we can go, as well as the from bottom to top we can go. But CSS selector is a one directional, means from parent to child we can navigate like this. So I'm not going to show the like how we traverse the XPath parent to child and child to parent. Okay, we will discuss later. But as of now, you can see I'm moving this in the parent to child. So this is the parent node, div tag, and then this is the child. So first parent tag, then we are using child. So this is the top to bottom directional, means from root to child level we can move. But in the XPath, we can move from both sides, child to parent and the parent to child. So parent child, you can see this is the text is working. So if we created the CSS selector, not XPath, so we can call the here driver.findElement by .css selector instead of XPath. Okay, so if we create the XPath, we are using the by.xpath. For CSS selector, we need to call the by.css selector and pass the selector locator CSS. Okay, then what function we need to call here? Get function, get text. Why we are calling the get text? Because we need to get the text which is appeared here, this one. Okay, so we can store in a variable text and apply the assert. Okay, this is clear. And you also keep understanding the differences between the CSS selector. Sometime I will use the CSS selector, sometime XPath, so that you can keep learning both. Okay, but in the automation, you can use any type of selectors which you feel that is good. Good means there is not much combinations. There is not dynamic values, right? So if that is, because the XPath is a very important, locator is a very important. If your locator is correct and stable, then your test will be stable. If your locator is not stable, then your test script will not be stable. If locator is getting changed, your script will start failing. Okay, next we have different kind of drag and drop. So there is other options here. You can apply the same function. Okay, drag and drop, where you can capture the target source locators as well the target locator, and drag and drop. So there are 3 more options right here are available. You can practice similar way. Clear? There is one more. So we need to drag and drop object. Drag from a location and drop into another location. So in this case, we have only one element, that this is the source element. and it has a ID, so I can directly use this ID. Okay. If I want to create the CSS selector or xpath, so we need to attribute also. Okay. So this is the CSS selector. If I will use here the div, then this will be applicable only for the div whose ID is drag box. If we are not using here the div, then this will be applicable for all the tags, all the HTML tags. Any tags which has ID drag box, it will apply. It will find. If we want to create the xpath, so we can just start with double slash. And if we want to like not include the tag name, we can put the here asterisk and then add the rate. So in the xpath for the attribute, we are using add the rate, and xpath is started with double slash. And in the CSS selectors, it will not start with double slash. Okay, and there is no need to add the rate ID. So this is the CSS selector. You can see highlighted. Now we can get the target. This is CSS select. So this is our source element. There is no target element. Okay, so we can call it different methods here. Action dot. So there is a method drag and drop by, where we can pass the source element and then pixels, some coordinates. Like we want to move position 200 pixels, 200 in x direction and 200 in y direction. Okay, so as we discussed, we need to call here the perform methods. If we are not calling the perform method, then your action will not execute the command. So that's why it is not executed, because we were missing the dot perform methods. So let me run now. You can see moved at bottom. So 200 pixels in the x direction as well as 200 pixels in the y direction. So it's moved. So when we have such type of drag and drop functionality, so we need to move the source or the element at a particular locations. So we can use that. Yeah, so in this case, for the verification, because this is moving the control at some particular positions. Okay, so in real scenario, there will be some attribute, some object. If we are dragging, dropping, so that will change in the page source in the code, right? Some color change, some things enable or something disable, kind of thing. So we can, based on those requirements, we can verify. Okay, so drag is successfully done or not. But we can use some other approach also. This is dimension. you can see here the coordinates. So if we want to verify any element coordinates pixels where this is available, okay, so there is a method element. So we need to call the driver.findElements. It will return the web element object. So using that element, we can find out the location on the screens where the element is available. Okay, so then we can call here location.x. This give us the x coordinate, and second is the give us the y coordinate. So xy coordinate we can get. So before the dragging and drop 200 pixels, we captured location. At that time we found 418 and 384. When we move the 200 pixel in x direction and y direction, we are getting 618 and 584, right? It means our object is moved 200 pixels in the x direction as well as the y direction. So we can verify this using this approach also. So also you can get here, we have a function .getLocation. Using that method, we can capture the x and y coordinate of the elements, position of the element, where element is available. Okay, so we learned here the three methods. One is the drag and drop by object, source and target we have. Second, we have drag and drop by, where we can drag and drop by using the coordinates. Okay, and we have also one method here, getLocation, web element getLocation, that will give us the location of the element. Using that, we can get x, y coordinate of the elements, position of the elements. Similar type, if we want to capture, if we want to verify the length and breadth of the elements, okay, what is the length and what is the breadth of the element? Like suppose that if you want to get the size of the element, then we have a methods. So not for this condition, right? Anywhere if you want to verify what is the size of the element, then we have a methods size, get size. Okay, this get size method will return the dimension object. Okay, then we can capture here using the dimension. It has two methods. One gives the height, second gives us the width. Okay, so let me run. So if you go, you will also see height and breadth of the element. So 40 pixel, this is the height of the element, and 100 pixel, this is the width of the element. Okay, so height and breadth we can also get here, verify. So there is a function getSize and getLocation. Clear? Any question you have here? Okay, so we have drag and drop. We can do that using the action class methods, drag and drop, using the source and target. And we have methods drag and drop by coordinates. We can also do that. So there is one more action we can do by using mouse. Sometimes we need to mouse over on a particular element, just mouse move on the cursor. Like you can see its color is changing. Similar type, when we move the mouse at any particular location, its menu is enabled. So those we need to also handle by using the action class. So let me show you some element. Get your form alert. Menus. Okay, so here if you can see, if I mouse move on the item 1 or item 2, so in item 2, once we mouse move, we can see the submenus. Okay, and if we mouse move on the submenus, then we can get also submenu. So how we do that? Because we are not going to click here. If I click, then it will not work properly. So only we need to mouse move. If I mouse move on the element, then it will open the menus. Okay, so how we do that? Mouse over. So we need to capture the element main menu item. So you can see there is a ID nav. Okay, if I use this, there are multiple LIs. So best option, we can directly use the main item to text, because this text we identified the main menu item 2. So we can use here text and create xpath. And one thing here, we cannot create a CSS selector by using the text. So text will not support in the CSS selector. So xpath is created. Now let me paste here. This is xpath. And this is main menu. Okay, so we can call here action dot mouse over. Mouse move to element. So we can call here function move to element. It will move on the main menu. So if we want to pause few seconds after the move, we can apply here dot pause. This is 1000 means 1 second. Then again we can call here methods move to element. Which element we want to move? We want to move on the second element. Now this is the element submenu. Let me create this also locator by using text. So I'm directly calling here the function now. Maybe we will face one issue. I will show. Okay, moving the next line. Okay, so after the move on the element, on this element, submenu element, we have another element you can see here. Then sub of submenu. Like suppose that I want to go in the sub2. Expand this, copy this text, create the xpath. Okay, so here we can call again dot. Suppose that I want to click on this element. Now on the third element I want to click. So then we can call here the dot click. Find element by dot xpath. Then now here because we have multiple actions, multiple methods. First we are moving on the element, first element, then we have pass, 1 second pass, then again moving on the next element, then again clicking on the third element. That's why we need to call here now build then dot perform, because build method will build all the 3 methods, all the 4 methods, right? Then we can need to call the perform methods. Okay, so let me run and you will see it will mouse move on the elements. Okay, we need to change the URL also. So this is the main menu URL. So if we are calling the multiple methods, right? Like I'm giving this example. So this is known as the method chaining. So action class will support the multiple methods we can chain multiple methods in a single statement. Yeah, 1 second it wait and then move on the like this. And test is passed. Okay, so why I am calling this directly here? So we can also do that similar way we did last time. We can create locators. Second menu like this. And pass here the object. Okay, now let me run. Okay, so sometime like if our element is not visible or something, right? We are calling the driver.findElement, and if element is not visible, then in that case there is chances we can get the element not visible error. So if you are facing sometime error, directly you can pass the method here, because if we pass the method here, then driver.findElement will start calling here. Okay, so if you face in any scenario such type of errors, element is not visible and you need to perform the mouse move before going to move or click, then you can call this. So here let me show this one, because we are here clicking. So suppose that we have method here. Directly I am going to click here without mouse move. Okay, so this element will available only after the mouse over. If we are not mouse hovering, then this element is not available. So also manually we cannot perform the click without mouse hover on the corresponding elements. So Selenium will work very closely to the as a real user. So if element is not visible, then it will not perform the click. Okay, so what we will get, let me show you. So if we try to click on any element that is not visible, so in that case we will get the error element is not visible. Yeah, now you can see it's trying to click, first waiting, because we have 10-second wait. So it will wait up to 10 seconds. Then it will throw the error. Element is not interactable, because the element is visible. That's why element is not interactable. Means when we perform the click, then click action will not perform on the element because the element is not visible on the page. So we can get also such type of error if our element is not appeared or not displayed on the page. Okay, so it means if we are facing element is not interactable type of error, element is not visible, it means you need to look the element and make sure element is visible before going to perform the click action. Here we are calling multiple methods, one action class, then move to element, then again pause, move to element, then click, build.perform. So this complete is like a method chaining. So when we are calling multiple methods, it means that is method chaining. So action class will support the method chaining because each method is returning the same class object. So now we have done the action class methods. Let me share this complete code. Okay, so now I'm moving the next topics, that is the frame. Okay, so like I discussed and told you, Selenium WebDrivers is working on the DOM object, only the DOM object. DOM object means document object models. So this is the document type here, HTML. So this complete section, HTML codes, is known as the document object model. Okay, where we are writing the code, and it start from the HTML tag and end with the /HTML tag. Okay, so Selenium can handle only the elements, locators, which are available under this DOM object. Okay, but in some cases we have DOM within another DOM. Okay, like here you can see here we have one HTML, so this is the top root element. Okay, but we have another sections which start with HTML tag and close with HTML. Okay, means we have nested HTML tags here. So in that case, when we run the Selenium WebDriver to find the element, it will check within HTML tag, okay, only. But if another HTML tag is available under this HTML sections, then that will not automatically go and check the elements. Okay, so designers, developers, they will develop the web application. If they are using the one DOM into another DOM, then they will use the iframe tag. So HTML will provide a iframe tag. Using that, they can insert one DOM into another DOM. Okay, like you can see there is one iframe tag. So using the iframe tag, designers or developers, they will inject another DOM object here, which will start from HTML tag and end with /HTML. So you can see iframe here, and this is the document. If I expand this, you will see another document type here, which start from HTML, okay, and close with HTML. So this is kind of, in general, if I say this is the iframe concept. So iframe means one HTML sections within another HTML sections. So if we call directly Selenium driver methods like driver.findElement, so it will look the element only the outer HTML, not the inner HTML. Okay, it's like example, if I want to get the body of this tag text, then it will not get locators. We have some more iframes. Let me show here. Okay, like now if I call the directly driver.findElements to get the locators, to find the locators sample headings for this S1 tag, then it will not work. Okay, so let me try and show you. Okay, here you can see on the top we are getting the warning message, because in Java if we want to always we need to give the class name with capital letters. We will start the capital in the class name. If we will create a small letters, then it will give us the warning. So it will not give you error, but warning you can say, because the encoding standard, our class name should be always start with the capital letters. Provide test frame. What is it? Why it was asked, started asking the to add the library. Okay, so we can copy the code here. First 5 line of code. Okay, and then I'm copying the frame URLs and passing here. Okay, so now what we need to do here, we need to find the text. This is the example page. We want to verify this text. So for that we have ID. Directly we can use this ID. So driver dot find element by dot ID. And then calling the getText methods. String text. Okay, so now let me run. And as we discussed, it will not find. It will give us the error. No such element exception. Okay, you can see here what error we are getting. No such element exception. Why we are getting no such element exception? Because this element is not available on the page. So when driver started searching, started looking the element, this sample heading ID, it will not found on the page. So why this is not found? As we discussed, select driver is looking the locators in the main frame, main HTML code, not the code, iframe code, right? So you can understand here like this. This is the one sections. This is the top HTML tag. Okay, this is the top HTML tag. Within HTML tag, we have some frames. One frame, and this is another frame. Here we have another HTML tag. This is frame 1, and this is another HTML sections, and this is frame 2. So when we are calling the driver.findElement, okay, this method, this is started looking the element only the outside of the inner frame. Means in this area, it will search the locators. Okay, it will not go and search the locators within the frames. Okay, so that's why we are getting no such element exception. So if we have frames in our applications and we want to verify, we want to do some actions on the locators on the element which is within the frame, then in that case, first of all, we need to switch the frame. Switch means we need to move from outer HTML section to the inner HTML sections. We need to move our controls, WebDriver controls within the HTML tags, inner frame. Okay, how we move that? So there is some methods we can call. Let me close this. Okay, so there are methods. If I go here, suppose that, and we have frame, right? It's tags, and this frame has an ID. So we can use this frame ID. And then in code, before calling the locators of the inner frame of the frame, we need to switch into the frame. So for that, we have function driver.switchTo.frame. Okay, then here we can pass the index number. We can pass here the ID or name of the frame. If we have any ID or name of the frame, we can pass. So here we have ID, so we can directly pass this ID. Okay, now let me run. So calling the driver.switchTo.frame, it means now when we call this statement, our driver control will move from outer HTML, from HTML tag to the iframe. Clear? You can see getting the text now. This is simple example we are getting. This is simple example. Okay, so now once we move into the frame, now we can try and get the locators on the element which are outside of the frame. Like suppose that this text is outside of the frame, this is not within the frame. Okay, then can we use get this text or not? Let me show you. So we have frame wrapper, this is the ID. We can create a path. So our CSS we can also create. So let me create CSS selectors, and then we have div. Okay, so this div is highlighted. So copying the code, and here calling the driver.findElement by dot CSS selector dot text, get text method. Let's see what will happen. Okay, let me reduce this time for 5 seconds so that we can get to 5-second result max. This is sample example printed. Okay, but after that we are getting no such element exception. This element is not present. Why we are getting? Because once we move the driver control into the iframe, then if we call the driver.findElement, it will look the element only within the frame, not outside the frame. Okay, so but our element is available outside the frame. It means this is available within the HTML, outer HTML sections, not inner HTMLs. Then how we do that? Because we need to return back our control from frame to outside. Okay, if we want to return back from the child, from the frame to the outside, means parent level. So this outer HTML section is the parent of the frame. Okay, so if we want to back to the move to the parent label, then we have a function driver.switchTo parent frame. Okay, now first we enter into the frame, then what action we need to perform? Like here we are getting the text, so we get the text verified. Okay, then return back to the outside the frame. So for that we need to call the driver.switchTo parents frame methods, parent frame methods. Let me run now. Okay, done. You can see we are getting outside of the text. Clear? Okay, so we need to enter into the frame if we want to do any actions like verification within the frame element. Then we need to call the method driver.switchTo frame. We can pass the ID, we can pass the name of the frame. in that methods. Okay, and then we can find the locators and perform what action we need within the iframe. Okay, then if we want to return back from the frame to the parent label, then we need to call the driver.switchTo parentFrame. Clear? What is the iframe and how we handle iframes? This is clear, or you have any question? Okay, now how you know your element is available within the frame or not? How you know that? So first of all, what you will do, you will perform the right click. Okay, if your element is available in the frame, then you will see options, view, frame source. If you will perform the right click on any element, and if you are seeing the view frame source options, it means your element is available under the iframe. Okay, then you need to handle that. You need to switch on the frame, then you can perform the action or verification. But if the element is not available in the frame, like here, this is not available in the frame. If I perform right click, you can see we are not getting the view source, frame source. Only we are getting options, view source, page source. If I perform here right click, we will not get. If I will perform here right click, we will see the view frame source. So how you know your element is available under the iframe or not? So just perform the right click, and if you are seeing the view source code, it means that element is available under the iframe. If you are not getting the view source, that is not available in the view frame source. If you are not getting, then it means that is not available in the iframes. Clear? Now, if I want to move again in the second frame, if I want to get this text, then we need to move again we need to switch in this frame. This frame ID is frame 2. Okay, I'm going to show one more thing. Suppose that we moved in the frame 1. Again, if I want to call, because we want to go in the second frame, right? Which is just sibling of the first frame. So if I will call here frame name, okay, it means this will switch on the frame, second frame. But if I run the code, this is sample page, and if it means first frame text we are getting, now it's trying to switch with in the frame 2. So let's see what will happen. So it's getting no such frame exception, but we are getting no such frame exception. But frame is available or not? Frame is available. We have frame, but why we are getting no such frame exception? Because this frame is not available within the first frame. So what will happen here? If you look the code, first we enter into the frame 1. Okay, then perform the get driver.findElement getText and printing the text. Now again I am calling the driver.switchTo frame and trying to switch in the frame 2. But where is the frame? Frame 2 is just parallel to the frame 1. It means frame 2 is a sibling of the frame 1. So if you want to go into the frame 1, frame 2, then first we need to go back at parent label, then we can move here. Okay, directly from parent 1 to frame 1 to frame 2 we cannot move. What we need to do, we need to call, first we need to move to the main HTML, then we can go frame 2. Okay, so that's why we are getting here error. So first we need to go in the frame parent frame, return back to the parent frame. Then we can switch from the parent to the frame 2. So let me show. Now you will see it will work. Let me call the, try to get the other text also, the text which is available here. Sample heading. Same locators. Okay, this is text 1. So how we know our tag is available, HTML element is available under the frame or not? So first of all, we will perform the right click on the element. If we are getting the views, so frame source, then it means our element is available in the frame, and we need to handle the iframe. First frame text, main frame, main HTML code, then frame 2 text. Okay, so in this way we can switch from one frame to another frame. If both frame are sibling and we have already jumped into the frame 1, then if we will call the driver.findElements, driver.switchToFrame, so it will look the frame within the frame, because we have also nested frames. So nested frame example we can show here. This one. This is the nested frame. Again, view source we are getting, it means this is coming in frame and this is also coming in frame. So let me show nested frame example. So do you have any question here? So one options we have here, driver.switchToFrame by ID or by name. If you have, we can also switch frame by index numbers, but we can also switch frame by the web element object. Okay, so we have one ID here. We can create locators. So I am going to show another way to switch the frame. So earlier we can see here driver.switchToFrame. Here we can also pass that driver.findElement web element object by dot CSS selector. Okay, so what we can do, we can switch within the frame by using the web element object also. Some cases, sometimes, suppose that you don't have any ID or name, then you can create the frame xpath or locators, then call the driver.findElement. That will return the web element object. You can pass the web element object in driver.switchToFrame methods. So we can switch a frame by using index number, by using the frame ID, name or ID, or we can also use the web element object. Okay, so now if I switch the frame, then we have text. This body frame is coming under the body tag. So here if we call here the tag name, okay, so we have tags name. We can also call the tag name, or we can call also create xpath or CSS selector of the body. Get text, printing the text. So I am using here tag name so that I can give the example also. Otherwise, you can also create xpath. Just start with double slash and change this xpath. Okay, this will also work. But I am giving you one more example. We can handle by using tag name. You can see parent frame text we are getting. Now you can see here we have child frame, right? One is the parent frame and second is the child frame. So child frame is coming within the frame like this. You can see this is the outer frame, parent frame, and this is the main HTML code. We have one frame, and within this frame we have another frame. Okay, this is just like frame within the frame. Like we have another frame here. The HTML frame. Okay. So now if I want to go within the child frame here, then do we need to back to the parent side outside or not? Do we need to move main HTML code? No. Because if now I will call the driver.findElement after switching the with frame, if I will call the driver.findElement, sorry, driver.switchTo frame, then it will switch. It can switch within the frame because now it will start looking only within this area because we have already in frame. So no need to go back on the frame. Just call your methods again driver.switchTo frame, and we can pass here the frame ID, name, or xpath what we have. So I'm going to pass here the ID. So there is no ID. You can see here there is no ID, but yes, we have src dog p childs like this. We can create xpath by using this, or also we can create xpath iframe. This is also because within this iframe we have one more iframe, right? So only one iframe. So I can call the iframe xpath, and let's see here. Here, if we don't have any frame, wave element, we are not able to create xpath as CSS. There is no ID. Okay, so we can call the driver.findElement dot xpath. Okay, it will switch the frame by using xpath. And also if we don't have xpath, just call the index numbers. Index number 0 is first. If we will pass the index number 1, it means it will switch on the second frame. 0 first frame, second 1 for second frame. But we are able to create the wave element object, so we can do also this. So now next, if it switch on the here, then we have p tag, right? So this is the body slash p. Driver.findElement by .xpath getText. Okay, we can store this text in a variable and print so that you can see the output. So we are moving here from one frame to another frame, means child frame. We are moving from frame to the child frame. You can see child frame text we are getting. So how we move here? So if we need to move the nested frames. Nested frame is frame within the frame. So this is one frame, this is another frame. Second frame is within the first frame, right? So if we want to go in the child frame here, then first of all, we need to jump, we need to switch in the frame 1. Then we need to go in the child frame here. So 2 times we are doing switch. Clear? Now, if I want to get the locators, get the text which are available here outside of the first frame, it means parent label. So how we do that? So this text is not in the frame. Okay, same locator we can call this one because the frame wrapper divs get text. Let me do this. So it will work or not? It will work or not? Where is our control? Our control is now within the inner frame. Here is the control. Okay, where I am trying to search locator, I am trying to search locator at this level in the outer HTML. So this will work or not? If I will call the driver.findElement by.css selectors, it will work or not? Yes or no? No, it will not work. Why? Because now if I am calling the driver.findElement, it will look the locators only within the frame here, right? But where is the element? Element is here, outside of the frames, outer HTML code. Okay, so how we do that? So now again, we need to move back to the parent. So if I will call here the driver.switchTo .parent frame, where our control will go? Our control will move from this inner frame to the outer frame at this level. Okay, what function we are calling? Driver.switchTo parent frame. Now it will work or not?
No.
No, it will not work. Why it will not work? Because it's still this is in the outer frame, but where we are looking into the main HTML code. So what we need to do? We need to do one more switch. Driver.switchTo parent frame. It will work or not? Now,
Yes.
it will work. Because this switch will directly move outside of the frame. Let me run. You can see this is working. But how many functions we need to call here? Driver.switchTo frame 2 times. This is the repeated code, right? So what we can do? There is another functions, that is this is driver.switchTo default content. Okay, if we are calling the driver.switchTo default content, it means this method will move from any level of the frame to the main HTML code. If you have suppose that 5 labels, 10 labels of the frames, and if you are calling the driver.switchTo default contents, it will directly move your control to the outside of the frame. So no need to call that multiple times. Driver.switchTo parent, driver.switchTo parent. It will directly jump to outer frame. So inner frame directly jump into the main HTML sections, main HTML code. So in this case, we can use the default content. But if you have only one frame, then you can call the switch the parent frame, because only one line of code you need to call. But if you have multiple labels and if you are going to back to the main content, then better you can call the default.switchTo parent. Driver.switchTo default content. So what is the difference between parent and default content? So default content will directly jump to the main content, while if we are calling the driver.switchTo parent frame, it will move one label of the frame. Working. This is clear, frame or not? So Tina, this is not real example. I'm just showing you web application, right?
Yeah, but I was wondering if we use it in any real world examples.
Real world example, we are automating the web applications. Selenium will not work with real world example, right? Here is the web applications. Selenium will work only the DOM object, right? The applications level. And this is the internal design pattern. Design means developers are designing the code. They are calling the some piece of code from external sources. They are injecting in the HTML, right? In the HTML.
Okay.
So if they have designed by using the frame, then you can use this approach. Okay.
Okay.
And mostly when we are calling the multiple sources, data from multiple sources, right? Then mostly developers are using this iframe concept. Like if I'm seeing this example, so there will be might be this add, this is coming in iframe. So if I inspect this, maybe we can see also this will come in iframe. Yeah, coming in iframe, right? This complete add is coming from different source. That's why this is a iframe.
Oh, okay.
If I go in the bottom code, this is also coming a different code, right? Different sources. This is the Google AdSense. It will also come in the iframe.
Okay, got it. It's there,
right?
down. Yeah, I got it. Okay.
So this is not any like rules when we apply the frame, when we are not applying the frame. Even if I go and see the HTML, our reports, right? There we can also see reports are generated using the iframe concept. Let me open in Google Chrome. So maybe earlier in HTML, it was frame concept. The older example.
I think we can come back to it later. It's not that important.
Okay. So this is also in HTML. TestNG report is not in iframe, but if you will get any chance to look into the JUnit frame report, right? There they have developed reporting into using iframe. So there is no hard and fast.
Sorry, I was wondering why are we learning this if you're not applying it? Because developers will be using it. I understand that, but what is the purpose of it in a QA?
Yeah, I'm not asking to learn the HTML iframe concept because we don't need to develop. I'm not teaching you to go and see how the developers developed. Okay, what approach they are using. So I have not explained this, right? I'm just telling you how you know this is iframe or not. If you know this, that is fine. I am not going to say like why we are using SRC, why we are using ID, why we are using width and height, right? Why we are using documents. I am not going to explain all these things. I have not explained. I explain only how you know it as a tester, as automation point of view, we need to know this is iframe or not.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
If you are not able to know this, then you will not able to handle this.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Okay. So what is the nested frame? I explained the nested frame, right? Frame within the frame. If you don't know the concept, what is the nested frame, then you will not able to handle this, right? First, you need to know. If you know what is the nested frame, how this is designed, okay? So if in your case, in your application, if you are getting frame, you can easily understand.
Yes. Got
right?
it. Yeah.
So this is nested frame or not.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe if you go in the Gmail, log in with your Gmail ID, right? You will see your inbox or some portion is coming in the frame. If you inspect, so you will see. So there is one earlier this application also inbuilt in the iframes. So mails are coming in the iframe. Source. Yeah, you can see this content is coming into the frame. And if I inspect this, you can see there is a iframe. So there is no hard and fast rule when we need to add the iframe, when we don't need to add. So it's up to developer choice and the company choice. Their applications, they need which technology, what they need, right? So this is clear, iframe concept and how we handle this. So main thing you need to understand what is the iframe, okay? How we know the code, the application or the pages which are designed, that is designed with the help of iframe. Our control is coming into the iframe or not, okay? So only we need to understand this. If this is clear, then you need to use these methods to handle your iframes. Okay, so let's take 5 minutes break and then we will continue some portion of the testNG and jump. Okay. This is clear? Or anyone have any question? Hello.
Hey Sadiq,
Hi.
hi. This is Muhammad. So some students saying that all of the topics mentioned in syllabus are covered. So they are little bit skeptical about the parts that are covered in Jira section.
Hmm.
Yeah. So they are little bit skeptical that some of them are not covered in Jira.
Yeah, so Mohammed, we have not completed the sessions, right?
Yeah.
So if we are doing such the kind of thing, daily verifying the syllabus and then discussing the students, right? So I'm thinking that it should not come as of now. If we
Okay.
left any topics, right, then they can raise the questions.
Yeah. Sure.
And also told the students, this is subset what we are teaching, right? If
Mhm.
they stay with us, there are a lot of things we are discussing in the interview, in the sessions. Syllabus is just a kind of subset.
Mhm.
If they are thinking only syllabus, then I am not sure they are also studying here much.
Yeah. Okay.
So because Jira I have not covered, Jira discussed by the Asif, right?
Mhm.
If any
Yeah.
topic is left, they can note down. Once we
Yeah.
complete the sessions and we are saying now we have done, they can ask these topics are pending,
Mhm. Yeah.
right?
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now next we can go one more topics. I will go to handle the windows. Okay, sometime in the applications when we are clicking in the buttons link, okay, it will open the new page. So you also observe when we are clicking on any particular elements, so it will click on the new window. So like here we have buttons. If I click on the new tab, this button, it will open the new tab. Page is opened on the new tab. Okay, there is option another options we have here, new window. So if I click here, it will open the new window page. This is also kind of new window. So when we perform any click or any actions on any elements like links, buttons, if this is opening the new window, not the same window, then that is a new window is also a different DOM structures. Like if I'm going source code, you can see this is the for source code for the URL here. This is simple page, but our main page here. If I inspect here, you will see different DOM structures, right? Document type. So this is another DOM, and here this is another DOM. So both are different document structure model. Now, as we discussed, when we are discussing about the frames, so it will work only one DOM object. But if we want to move into the different DOM object within the same page, means iframe, then we need to switch driver.switchTo frame methods. We are calling to switch from main HTML code to the iframe. If we want to go back again in the main content, main HTML code, then we are calling the driver.switchTo parent or parentFrame or driver.switchTo default content methods, right? So in this way, we can traverse from one DOM to another DOM using the iframe when application is developed in the iframe. But here our like pages are different. These are opening in different page, different window, different tabs, right? So this is another tabs, this is same tab. So our HTML code, new HTML code, new window HTML code is not in the same code, right? This is completely different page. So if you have such type of scenarios in the application, in your scenarios, you will found where if you are clicking the buttons link, it open the new tab or new window, then we need to handle the windows. So for that, Selenium will provide some methods. Using that method, we will move our driver control from one page to another page. Window handle. Okay, so this application, demo application has some examples, right? Where we can check the window handle concept. So why I am using this application? So because here we can get all the unique concept of the HTML code, right? Different unique like window handling, iframes. So JavaScript alert, okay, mouse click, right click, mouse right click, left click, move. All the example you can see here. But if we go any applications, maybe that application there is no iframe. So maybe you will automate whole the application, but you will not get the concept of the iframe. You will not see the frame concept. Maybe if there is no JavaScript alert pop-up, right? Then you will not able to learn. So that's why here I'm going to use this application, demo application, so that we can see all the controls, and we also can like give the example how we handle all these controls. Okay, like here we have one window switching concept. So this will open and navigate the URLs, and then we need to perform here right click, new tab. We have ID, directly we can use this ID. In that case, we will need to call the driver.findById. If I will create a CSS selector, then we need to call the by.CSS selector. This is ID, so I will call your ID. Okay. When I click this, it will open new window. And in the new window, I need to get the text and verify here. Sample heading. So in that case, I need to use here driver.findElement by.id getText. Okay, so what we have here? Here we have window 1, window 2. This is first window. When we launch the browser, it open first window. Okay, this is the parent, and this is the another window. When we perform the click action, so this is open another window, and this is child window. Okay, so in the here we will call the parent window. Parent window is the main window which initially launch, and the second one is this is child. So initially when we are navigated the URLs, okay, click on that. element our driver control is on this page. Suppose that this is your driver object. So driver controlling the first page, first window, right? So now if I will call here the driver dot find element, it will look the element on the parent window. But this element is available in the child. So in that case, this will work or not? No, this will not work. Let's see. You can see here, no such element we are getting. Why we are getting no such element? Because the driver is looking the xpath is locator on the parent page, but we are trying the child page object. Okay, now let's see how we will handle the window. So here we need to switch from the main parent window, we need to switch our control to the child window. Okay, then after that, if I will call, it will look the element on the child window, not a parent window. Okay, so how we switch? So for that, WebDriver will provide option driver dot 1 minute switch to window. Okay, so we have first, there is two options, two buttons, sorry, two methods. One is driver dot get window handle. So first method we have driver dot get window handle. It will return you the window ID. Which window ID it will return? So initially where your control. Currently, where is the control? Control is in the main window. So it will return the driver dot find element, return the main window ID. Okay, this window ID, parent window ID. So if we call the driver dot get window handle, it will return the current window ID. So this time current window is a parent window. So we will get the parent window ID. Okay, I stored here. Second method we have, it will return the set. Get window handles. Okay, get window handles will return all the windows ID. How many windows are open? It will return all the window ID and store into the, suppose win ID. I created one variable win IDs, so it will store here. So this is the set. This is one data type like a array. Okay, where we can store multiple values. So this is the set is Java concept, collections concept. Using this, we can create a like array. Okay, as of now, you can understand this set contains multiple values of and these values are in string format. So driver.getWindowHandles will return all the windows ID. Means if we have two windows, we will get two window ID. If we have three windows, we will get three windows IDs. All IDs will store here in the form of array. And get window handles, it will return one window ID That's why we are storing in single window, like single variables, not array. So this is string. Okay. Now we need to switch on the child window here. So how we do that? So it means here we are getting all the Windows ID, right? So we can use for loop, for each loop, bin IDs, okay, and then here I will call driver.switchTo dot window, and here we can pass the window ID. So passing the bin. Okay, so if I will iterate loop like this, it will switch into the child window because it stores the both window ID. So first loop iterate, it will switch on the same window because in order first window is coming first. So it means in the array first window ID is parent window here. Then again it will iterate second time loop, and second time it will move and switch on the child window. Okay, so there are three methods we are using. getWindowHandles, it will return the current window ID. getWindowHandles, it will return all the Windows ID as a set format. And we have a driver.switchTo window methods where we can pass the window ID and it will switch on that window. Which window ID we are passing. Okay, now let me run. Done. We are getting the message. Okay. Now we are on child window. Now our control is on the child window, not the parent window, right? And if we want to return back again on the parent window, or we want to perform any actions on the parent window, like example, I want to click on the new tab, new window button on this button. So what I will do, I will call the ID, suppose that I am capturing this, and then calling here driver dot find element by dot ID, and then dot click. Okay, so what will happen? It will work or not?
No.
No, it will not work. Why it will not work? Because where is our current window, current control? On child window, where we are going to click on the parent window. So if I will call the driver dot find element by dot locators, what we are passing, then it will look the locator on the child window, not the parent window. So we can try and you will see the error. Yeah, you can see we are getting error. Why getting error? So Ambika, can you tell me why we are getting error? Our locator is correct, right? But why we are getting error? Mansi, can you tell me why we are getting element, no such element error? Sadia,
It is 5 seconds.
Yeah, if I will increase the time, then it will work. Jennifer.
Sorry, I was not able to unmute.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to increase the implicit wait time, and then it would work, because it's not yet in place. I mean, we can't.
Okay.
It's not
If
in
I
it.
will increase the 15 second, it will work.
It should.
No, here time is issue is not factor.
Okay.
Jennifer.
Because it's looking using the child.
Okay. Yeah, because it is looking to the child window.
Exactly.
Yeah, here you can see. Yeah, your voice is echoing, so no, it's okay. I got it. So anyone who want to explain this? Why we are getting no such element exception?
Because we are in the child window and we are looking for the element that is present in the parent window.
Yes. So why we are getting this? Because we switch on the child window. We switched on the child window right here. And where we are looking locators, we are looking locators at a parent levels here. But we pass the locator of the parent, but driver is looking in the child window. Then it will work or not?
No.
Driver will find the locators? No. That's why, because we have here switched a child window, but element is available in the parent. So that's why we are getting no such element exception. So what we need to do here and how it will work? So we need to return back again. We need to disconnect here, right, from child window and return back to the parent window here. Then after the switching on the parent window, if I will call the driver.findElement, it will look the element only on the parent window, not a child window, right? So what code we need here? We need here driver.switchTo.window. So do we need to call this again? No. Why? Because before moving to the child window, I capture the parent window ID. Right here we stored in a one variable. Now, if I will pass this parent window ID, so it will automatically return back and move to the parent window, because before moving child window, we capture the parent window ID. Okay, so driver.switchTo winId. We have a parent window ID, pass that ID here. Let me run. So here time is not factor. The main issue is the driver is looking on a different window. Our element is available on different window. That's why we were getting no such element error. So if you have any doubts, any confusion, right, you can ask the question. If you will not ask the question, how I know how much you understand? Okay, any single things, if you are not able to understand, maybe the question is very silly, right, very small, but you can ask. If you will not ask, your concept will not clear. Okay, now you can see this window is also open and test is working.
Sadik, so
Yes.
in line 25, we are capturing the parent window, right?
Yes,
Then in
parent window.
26, we will have both parent and child, right?
Yeah, both it will include. But here it's kind of array, right? Set value. So it will include both, but we want to switch on second window.
So in line 28, when you are using the for loop, so there it will iterate on the parent window and then to the child, right? Okay, got it.
Yes. Also for more, we can add here condition, right? If bin ID, this one, not equal parent window, right? If we are iterating, so first is the parent window ID. It means that ID will equal to this. So we can add also one conditions. So in that case, it will switch only on the child.
Okay.
But if we are not using that conditions, this will also work because there is only one ID, and we know the first ID is parent, second is child.
Okay.
So if it will run 2 times, so first time it will stay on the same parent window, Next iteration, it will switch on child.
Okay, thanks.
Right? Anyone have any question here? Okay, so next here you can see when we open, right, it open one tab. Again, when we don't need this second tab, right? So we need to close, and when we click here, it will open another page. So how we close the window? So we need to call the driver.close. There is a method driver.close. So it will close only the current window. Okay, so if I run, you will see the tab window will auto close. But the parent window and the second child window, when we click on the new window, it opens this one, right? So this window is still there. Only it close on the tab window, right? This window is closed. So when we are calling the driver.close method, it will close the current window. Okay. If I will call here driver.close, so which window will close at this moment? We have driver.switchTo on parent window, right? So which window will close? So where the current window is focused. So at this time, we have the parent window, right? Because we move back from child to parent. And when I click on the tab, it opens the one new window. Okay. This is the second window. And this is the first tab window. So it will close only the parent window because currently it focuses on parent. So parent window will close. So let's see. Now you can see parent window is closed, child window is available, and the tab window is available. Both are available, but it closes on the parent. So driver.close, what it will do? It will close the current window. Okay. We have another methods, that is driver.quit. So driver.quit, basically it will close all the windows and it will destroy the system. When we are calling the driver.close window, after that we can also switch on the parent window. We can also perform on the parent window one button. Okay. But if we are calling the driver.quit, it will destroy the WebDriver object. Means it will kill this driver object. It will close all the browsers and then it will kill the driver object. It means after that we will not able to perform any action because your driver object is destroyed. When we are calling driver.quit. Let me run. So what is the difference between the driver.close and driver.quit? Driver.close will close only one window. Okay. But if we are calling the driver.quit, it will destroy the WebDriver session as well as it will close all the browser. First, it will close all the browser, then it will destroy the WebDriver object. So after that, you cannot perform any access. Here you can see session ID is null using the WebDriver calling quit. So when we call the driver.quit, it means further we cannot do anything with the same object, right? And you can see the line numbers here where we are getting error. Okay, this is the class name, window handle, line number 35 here. So when it tried to switch on the window, because this driver object is now null, So it will not work. But if we are using close, so it is working. Okay. So what is the difference between driver.quit and driver.close? So driver.close will only the close current window, while if we are calling the driver.quit, it will destroy the session as well as it will close all the browsers. Okay, so when we are using driver.close and when we are using driver.quit, so driver.quit will always call at the end of your test in the last, when we want to close the browsers. If we have multiple tests we are running on one browser, then we will call at the end. If we are running one test on one browser, means we launch the browser, run the test, then destroy, then here we need to call at the end of each test. If we want to close the window only, then like here, if I click on new tab, we want to close this window because now we don't need to this after the verified window, then return back to the parent window. So before returning the parent window, we can close that. Okay, and then call the new window. Okay, so now if I am calling here the driver.close, okay, so which window will close? Child window or parent window? Which window will close? Child window, right? If the child window is closed, this will work or not? So where we switched, here we switch on the child window. After switching, we close the child window. And now I'm calling the driver.findElement. So in this case, it will not work. Why? Because window is already closed. On which window we are going to look the element, that window is closed. So in that case, it will not work. Okay, let's see the error. Yeah, closed. An error you can see here. What we are getting? No such window, target window already closed. Because here we are trying to find the element, but the window is already closed. That's why we are not able to get. Okay. So when we close the window, if our action is done, right? Suppose that in the test cases, if open the new window and what steps we need to perform, we have done. Now we need to return back into the parent window. So before returning the parent window, you can close the child window and then go to back. This is clear. What is the getWindowHandle? What is the getWindowHandles? Okay. How we switch on window and what is the driver.close? What is the driver.quit? Clear? Or any question you have? How many methods we need in window handling? How many methods we have? Deepu.
Two.
What is the getWindowHandle and what is the getWindowHandles? What is the return type of both methods? Ambika. Ambika, what is the getWindowHandles? What it will return and what getWindowHandles will return?
getWindow.
So your voice is going. So are you in class too?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's why we are getting both from both. Okay, Mansi, can you explain what is the return type of both methods?
Yeah, so get window return type would be like string. It can do it can return into string, and get window handles can return into array, string array or anything array.
Okay. Okay, so what is the difference between driver.close and driver.quit?
Current window will close when we'll use the driver.close method, and
Okay.
all
driver.quit is
which is last. All the windows will close.
Okay. Okay, so now we have done for the today for the Selenium WebDriver. Then let's move on the some topic of the TestNG.
Sadik, is it enough for today? I think it gets too much for us to learn in one go. I mean, if
We have only covered 3 topics, right? Iframe, 1, and then we have action, windows. Only 3, right?
okay.
That's why I'm moving on the TestNG so that we can get some different flavor.
Sure.
Main topic we have covered only 2: windows, frame, and action class like partial evaluative.
Yeah, sure, thanks.
Did you cover the link test and partial link test?
Yeah, you mean by dart, right?
Yeah,
This is by dart. Yeah, I will so give examples. This one, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, I will give some examples. Mostly in very rare case, these we are using because our link text will be common, maybe. Okay. And we can directly use the xpath as CSS selector. But yes, I will also give examples of the partial text. I think class ID name, tag name, already done CSS selector. So mostly you need to work on the CSS selector and xpath because ID class, this is very simple. You can just copy the ID, copy the class name, names, link text, partial text, right? That will work. Main thing you need to practice more on the xpath and CSS selectors. Which class would get? So what is the data provider? Why we are using data provider? Who will explain?
You store the data in the backend.
Oh, data provider. I'm saying I'm not. I mean like parameters. Data providers I'm going to teach. I'm asking like @parameters. This one. What is the use of @parameters in notation?
We can pass the value if we use the parameters. We can pass the value in the XML file.
XML file to our test. Okay. So in this way, we can perform the data-driven testing. Means one test we can run with multiple data. Like I given the example to run the test, okay, with different users. So two set of data we are passing. So one test is running with 2 data. Similar type here we are using Firefox, Chrome, Edge. So one test are running on 3 different tests. 3 different values: Firefox, Chrome, and Safari. Sorry, Chrome and Edge. Okay, so it means one test we are running with multiple set of values. So this kind of also known as the data-driven testing. Okay, but suppose that I am giving an example you have one form, suppose that there is one university registration form, and we have 20 students, list of the 20 students, and we need to register, we need to create the account of all the 20 students. So in that case, how many tests we need to write? 20 or 1? If you want to run your test 20 times, do you need to create 20 tests or single test is fine? Yeah, single test is fine because your test step is same. You need to launch the browser, navigate the URLs, right? Then you need to fill the username, you need to fill the email ID, password, okay? All the information you need to do repeated things for each 20 students, okay? Means your test case is one, your test data is different, right? Here your test is one, but your test data is different. So when we have such type of testing where we have single test and we want to run that test with multiple set of data, this concept, this approach is known as the data-driven testing. And this is a very important also in interview point of view. So an interview can ask in different ways, okay? But if your concept is clear, you can reply. So such type of cases, if you have where you have one test with multiple set of data, then what approach you need to use? You need to use the data-driven approach to test that. Means one test, if we are iterating, we are running with multiple set of data. This concept is known as the data-driven testing. Okay, if we talk about the normal concept, normal Java concept, so you can get all the data, store in a list, run a loop, okay, that will run 20 times and fill the form. But here TestNG will provide one options that we can use that. That is known as the data provider. Okay, data providers basically helps to run one test with multiple set of data. So one example I have also given in the Postman, right? When we are running test find by pets ID, right? One test we can run with multiple set of data, available, pending, and sold. So there I use the CSV, okay, to run the test. Similar type in the Java, Selenium, or in the TestNG, TestNG will provide one annotation that is known as the data provider annotation. We will use the data provider annotation to run one test with multiple data. So let's see how we will do that. Public void. Like we need to verify, we have one method, and this method is some like add. Let me add. Okay, there is an add method where we need to use the integer a, one by loop, integer b equal to 10. We need to assert c equal to a plus b. Very, very simple example I am going to show where one test result integer c, this is result, suppose that variable here result is 30. So if I run, this will work. But how many tests we can supply here? We can run with only one set of data because we have hard coded. Now, if I want to run this test with multiple set of data, then how we do that? So we can use the here data provider concept. So there is a data provider annotation. Okay, similar type other annotation like parameters, @test, @before test. There is a one annotation provided by the TestNG known as the data providers. We can use this to pass multiple data in our test script. Okay, so it has only one attribute, that is name attribute. I am giving one name. Here we can give any names like test data I am giving. And this we can apply over a methods. One methods we have. Okay, so we can use here void. Void means this method is not returning any value. So we have already discussed about the return type of the methods, right? So this method is not returning any value if we are using void. But we need to return in the data provider, we need to return values. Which type of values we need to return? Array type. So this is the object array. Okay, object. So what is the object class? Object class, as of now, you can understand this is a super class in the Java, okay, which is available globally. Means all the class parent's name is the object class. Okay, we will discuss about the some times in the Java, right? Then you will know what is the object class. But as of now, you can see, only understand this is super class in the Java. Now we need to create array object of, okay, so suppose that obj object variables new object, okay, and we can pass here the values. So this is the two-dimensional array, so we can pass here the values. Like one value I am passing the first value, this is second value, and third is the result. This is first set of value. So if I run this method at test add, then pass the data 1 2 3 means 1 plus 2 equal to 3. Second data I am supposed that passing 20 10 20 and result is 30. So this is the second set of data. Third set of data we can pass here, like suppose that 15 5 and this is the 20, right? Result is 20. Now as we added here return type object, okay, so we need to call here return object. So this is generally define a variables. This is two-dimensional array, okay. So this object type we need to define and add the value here. Now our data provider is ready. This data provider contains 3 set of values, right? And now we can apply the data provider here. So in the @test, there is an attribute data providers. With similar type, we have other attributes like priority, descriptions, enable, disabled, right? Depends upon, we have already discussed all these attributes. Attribute example, right? We have already discussed descriptions, priority, depends upon, okay, always run, enables. Similar type, we have other property. This is known as the data providers. In the data provider, we can pass the data provider name. So our data provider name is test data. So we can pass with the test data, right? Only we need to apply here @test data provider name. This data provider, how many values it will return in one row? 3 set values, right? Integer 1 2 3. So what we can do here, we can define 3 variables so that we can store in these variables like integer a1, integer b1, integer c1. So 3 variables are defined. So first value, if this method will run, right? So first it will run first set of value 1 2 3. So 1 will go and store into the a1, 2 will store in the b1s, 3 will store in the c1. Okay. Now here, let me remove this. We have a1 and b1. So both values will add and store in result variables. And now I'm asserting result equal to the c1 value. So c1 is here. Clear? Now our test is ready to run with multiple set of data. Now, if I run this, so our test add will run independently with 3 set of data. How many times it run? 3 times. You can see here how many tests is executed? 3 tests. How many pass? All the 3. Okay, so if I will increase the data, if I want to run this test add with some more data, just add the data here. Okay, like here we have 10, 5, 15, 115. Suppose that I am passing here 20. 20 means it will fail, right? Because the both result will not equal. And then we have one more test here. This is 20, right? How many tests will fail here? How many data will fail? 1. Second last, right? As I told, our test will run independently. Independently means if one data is failed, test is failed for one data, it will not impact the execution of other tests. Okay, let me run. How many run? 6 run, pass 5, fail 0. Like this. And we can also see here add for this set of data 10, 20, 30, 1, 20, 21, 10, 5, like this. Okay, which one is failed? 1, 15, 20. What is the failure? Expected 20 but found 16. Okay, so this is a very, very simple example of the data providers. Later we can expand this when we are working in a project. Sometimes we need to fetch the data from the Excel sheet. Sometimes we need to fetch the data from the database, XML files. Okay, depending upon the situations, we can call and prepare this data provider. We will read the Excel sheet data and we will create a 2-dimensional object like this. Okay, and then pass the data provider in your test, and your test will start running, okay, multiple times depending upon the data. Clear? So what is the data providers? Data provider is a TestNG concept. By using the data providers, we can run one test, multiple set of data with multiple set of data. Your test will run independently, means one failure will not impact to other. All the thread will run, all the data will run. Okay, sorry, test will run with all the data in isolated mode. Isolated mode in separate threads. Okay, but if we are using like kind of for loop, so for loop will always use within the methods. Like if your test is failed for one data, it means it will fail the complete test. Okay, it will impact. So better we can use the data provider for the data driven tests. So in interview, the interviewer can give an example, some applications, like suppose that there is a login and we have multiple users. We want to check all the user is working fine or not. So what is the approach? How you will test that? So in that case, you will not say we will create multiple tests and for the each users, then we can log in and verify. No. What we will do, we have one login test, only we will supply the data for all the users. Our test will run with multiple times, and here we will use the data providers. So using the TestNG data provider concept, we can create one login test and supply the data on the users, and all the users test will run for all the users, and it will produce the reports which user test data is which user test is failed on. Clear?
Sadek, so here the object is 2-dimensional. That is what you said, right? So what
Yes.
if we have, if we are filling up a form wherein we have to write the first name, last name, and the score, So how do we do that here?
Yeah, so let me create one more test. You mean like we have first name, last name. Suppose that in the form we have 3 fields, right? Test data 1. Let me give the user data. Its name is user data. Okay, test 1. Method name I give difference because in the Java file we cannot create 2 methods with same name, right? So you can give any name. Now here we have 2-dimensional array.
Yes.
So this is the string, right?
Yes.
So we can suppose that first name Raj, second name Kumar, okay, and then we have suppose that email ID like this. So all data we will provide like this. Okay, we have one set, second set data we have, third set data we have, fourth set of data we have, right? So suppose that first data we have Raj 1, Raj 2, Raj 3, Raj 4, right? Raj 1, Raj 2, Raj 3, Raj 4. Test data 1, test data 2, test data 3, test data 4, right? This is kind of data. Suppose that registration form we have only 3 fields, but we have, if we have multiple fields, we will increase the data, like phone numbers, then address, right? Like this.
Okay. So here
And
the object, after the object, you have only those 2 brackets, right? So for
Yes,
2-dimensional or any more.
2-dimensional because this is first row, first array, this is second array, this is third array, this is fourth array. We can keep increasing.
Okay.
Okay. Now we are going to apply this in our test. So this is the test users. Okay. So how many values we are passing? 3. Right. So in that case, we need 3 variables. String, name, EF name, suppose that. String, last name, and this is third one, string email ID. Okay. So here you will write the Selenium code and call the driver.findElement or something, and then pass the first name in the send keys method. Next step, driver.findElement by that something, then pass the second last element. Then similar type, you can call the method and pass these variables in send keys method because these variables contains the value. But I am going to here print the value so that you can see value is coming here.
But Sadik, when it is like different first name, last name, and email ID boxes, will the element be the same? The like if you
element will not same. You will create a separate steps, right?
For the first name text box, I will create the. I'll find the element and I'll HTML.
Here you will call the find element, right?
Yeah.
Driver.findElement like
ID. Yeah, I got it. First
xpath, right? You will call like this. Suppose that. Then you will call the send keys method and pass the first name.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you will call the next step.
Last name, and for the email too, I'll do that.
Yeah,
so my question here is, so
Mhm.
once I fill in the first name like Raj1, Kumar1 and test1@gmail.com, again I'll go for the, so will the element be the same if I keep sending the different values in the boxes? So that the value, this find element will
No. One time your test will run one time with one set of data.
Okay.
Next time again it will iterate. So you need complete step from starting to end, right? Like suppose that your form is not here. So you have suppose that some steps. You log in or you maybe navigate the home page,
okay,
and then go to the form, right? Click on sign up. Then your form will open. So you need previous step, then your form, then submit and verify.
Okay.
So that your test will repeat, right? Otherwise, in the first test you submitted, you are on the welcome message, right? Your second test is started, so it will come on the welcome page, right? because your current page is welcome. So no, you will not do. You will manage your test such a way so that your test will run smoothly.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, means for the second test data, right? So your page should be on the
Home page.
user home page, or maybe sign up page, right? Where you are going to do. So after the test, first test completed, your form should be page should be written on same page.
Okay.
So for that, if needed, you need to add some steps here.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. And now if I run the test, you will see it will print all the set of data. It means now here your test is running. Okay, what is the data provider mismatch? So we need to call here user data, right? Because test data applied, these are integer type, passing the integer value. So that's why we are getting mismatch. Okay. And if I will apply here user data, it means now this data is available and we are getting here strings. Let me run. Running, right? All the values printed here.
Yes, thank you.
In this way, you can manage. Okay, sometime we want to separate our data provider from our test script, right? So currently, this is a data provider is available in the current test. So you can see only we need to call the data provider name. So it means it will automatically detect in the current method class. But if your data provider is in different page, so what will happen? Data provider, my data provider name. Because data provider is already a notation, right? So that's why I cannot give same name. So I'm using my data provider. And then these data providers, suppose that I am passing here. And if I run the test, this will work or not? It will not work. Why? Because it's need data provider user example. So where it found, if this data provider is in current class, right? Here below it defined, it will automatically detect. Because data provider is available in this method class. But if I run, it will not found. Right? Getting null point exception. Why? Because the TestNG started looking the data provider in the same class, but this is not available. This is a different class. Okay, so if we want to pass the reference of different class, so we can pass here data provider class. And then call the data provider class. Our data provider class is my class, and then use the dot class. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to pass the reference of the class by using the data provider class name. If your data provider is in different class file. So any questions here in the data provider? Let me know. Okay. Okay, so today I have done. If you have any question, you can ask before the wrap up the session. And one more things, tomorrow when we start, right? First of all, I will ask some random questions. What topics we covered, okay, in the Selenium WebDriver as well as the testing. So you should prepare all the videos what we have, right? Your code base Selenium as well as the TestNG. And tomorrow we will random pick some names. Someone I will call the names, and then you need to tell me what is the like action class, what is the how we switch on alert, how we cancel the alert, right? What is the parameters? So any random question I will ask. So you should prepare on that. Clear? So first 15 minutes we will discuss only the question where randomly I will pick the names. I will call some names and then you need to tell me the concept. Okay, so Now, then we can wrap up. If you don't have any question, and we will connect tomorrow again. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Sadik.
Bye.
Thank you.